Good afternoon. Well, it's gorgeous here today. It's 60 something now. Yesterday it was 40 something. I think the day before that it was 19. So that's a trend line, you can really embrace. As you can see, the sun is out and the snow is mostly gone. You can see some here, and you'll see the green is growing. So we're getting there. Spring is almost around the corner. So, well, what's our main topic? It's the same as it's been, I think. But I have a story closer to home. Ginny Thomas, as you know, is the wife of Associate Justice Clarence Thomas. Just think of a Coca-Cola can. And she is admitting, but not everything. She is making a public statement that yes, she was there on the day of the rally, but it was cold, and she went home. But she hasn't talked about the buses she paid for, the statement she made, the meetings she went to, what her role was. Nor has anybody really focused on the fact that her husband was the sole vote in support of Trump for withholding the documents and papers from the January 6th Select Committee on the Insurrection. What a pair, huh? Now, there are canons of ethics, by the way. Some people have asked, how can this happen? And the answer is there are rules about it. And even the appearance of conflict is enough for a responsible judge to care how it appears and to recuse himself and withdraw from the case. I had a case in Florida years ago in which I made motions to remove, in the same case, 3 judges before we got a 4th judge. And I won't go into the details, but in one of the first appearances, the judge said to me, when I refused to let him talk to my client, and he says, "Are you jerking my chain?" I thought, well, if a judge would say that, very injudicious, he shouldn't be on the case. And he was the first judge to go. And they have a procedure in Florida which is pretty detailed for this. So they did when I did it a couple of years ago. Who knows, maybe they've changed it since. So, but here's the deal. For Justice Thomas, he decides whether he recuses himself or not. And I've had judges over the years who look at the thing and either decide there was a conflict they overlooked, which does happen, or they thought it didn't look right. And so they moved the case back to where it was at that point. You would think the Supreme Court would, because of the significance of a decision they make, that they'd be even more careful, particularly when Thomas, on the very subject matter of the insurrection, on the day his wife attended the outing, if you will, that is the riotous insurrectionists, the intolerables, incurables who charged the Capitol. And you would think that he would not participate in a decision, particularly when 8 of the justices agreed and he was the odd man out. So that's local news. Now let's go over to Ukraine. The peace talks, so-called, adjourned today without reaching any results. And that shouldn't surprise us because I think they're more to taunt and give a false hope that they're, checking off, we're trying diplomatic ways to settle this. But they're not really, because what is Putin's way out? Complete victory. That's it. Because no one's going to give him anything that would justify, in his mind, him walking away from a battlefield that he's day by day winning. Now, but there's a nice question. What are we going to do to help him? There are 4,000 citizens trapped in Mariupol, and there's hostilities across the nation state of Ukraine, and shootings and killings and everything else, and they're coming closer to the capital, to Kyiv. So that's not anything to sneeze at, shall we say. And we have a bipartisan group of Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, who are saying what we should be doing is setting up a no-fly zone of a variety of ways, and giving the MiG fighters or other flying machines that could do battle. And who knows, does the difficulty Putin is having mean that there's a possibility if we weigh in that we can make a difference? And we have been weighing in. I mean, we've been given a lot of material. So to pretend that we're not doing things that could be considered a basis for Putin to escalate means that why can't we put in the theater of war what's necessary for Zelensky and company to win? Now, Biden has dragged his feet, and we have Kirby over at the Department of Defense saying, oh, we just don't think that would work. Well, Zelensky's on the ground. He's conferring with his military advisors, and they think it would help. So why would we preempt the possibility of success on the fear of escalating into World War III, which we're already in, and give him what he needs? Well, here's the kicker. On Wednesday, Zelensky's going to speak to our Congress. He's already, 63% in our polls popularity, and he's going to make the same request. And I think he's going to get it. And that's going to look bad for Biden. Again, I've told you about my favorite Roman senator, Seneca, who said the fates either lead you to your destiny or they drag you to it. And Biden's been dragged to it. And I have my doubts that he ever was a fist fighter in the street like he says. Because, you don't lose that, I think, as a kid. You mature, and it interprets into resolve and making harder decisions. And when you have an opponent who thinks nothing about committing the most heinous acts, you expect him to go to a table and negotiate a settlement? Never going to happen. So the Pentagon spokesperson Kirby says we shouldn't have any military support in terms of a no-fly zone and MiG fighters. And senators and Congress people take a different position. And so the position I staked out before I knew anybody else would agree with it has become the main position, I think, of people, not just in the United States, but around the world, no matter what their leaders think. So let's see how Zelensky does on Wednesday. In the meantime, we'll watch what's going on, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye.